Attorney Lin Wood has filed a petition in the Supreme Court of the United States for a writ of mandamus, an emergency petition asking for an immediate review and an immediate issuance of the petition in an attempt to stop the upcoming January 5th Senate runoff in Georgia. He is also asking the court to overturn the 3 underlying decisions of Judge Batten down in Georgia, who has dismissed 3 of Lin Wood's election-related lawsuits for a lack of standing. Lin Wood is asserting that he has standing. Let's do a quick hit on what standing is, on what has happened with Lin Wood's lawsuits, and what he's hoping to achieve here, and basically what his argument is, okay? Standing is a doctrine under federal law for federal courts to exercise jurisdiction. Federal courts do not have original jurisdiction. Their jurisdiction comes from the Congress giving them jurisdiction through the law, specifically the Judiciary Act. And federal standing is a doctrine that has stemmed out of that, and that is this idea that for a federal court to take a case, a plaintiff must demonstrate a couple different things. First, that the plaintiff has been injured. Second, that the plaintiff's injury is at least rationally traceable to the defendant. So you can make a claim that the defendant is directly responsible for the injury of the plaintiff. And third, that once you do that, that the court has the ability to remedy that damage, right? If someone hurts your feelings, the court can't fix your feelings. Now, if someone hurts your feelings and costs you money, the court can remedy that by awarding money, right? So there's some sort of remedy available. The court has to have the power to issue that remedy that's related directly to the injury that was caused directly in some way by the defendant to the plaintiff. So that is the track for standing. Now, Lin Wood has filed 3 lawsuits in Georgia, in district court in Georgia. All 3 of them have been before Justice Batten, and all 3 of them have been rejected for lack of standing, largely on the same grounds. The idea is that Lin Wood, filing as an individual voter, does not have a particularized injury that is specific to him. The idea that Justice Batten is putting forward is that the injuries that Lin Wood has suffered are general injuries. And the argument, let me kind of break down the argument Lin Wood is making as for why he has standing, and then tell you what Justice Batten thinks. Lin Wood is suggesting that his vote is being diluted by, how do we call this? How do we say this that YouTube will like? By irregularities that have come up due to various potential actions or flaws in the voting systems. Okay? That's how we can word this safely, because YouTube is not a fan of saying anything other than that, even if you're not advocating that that's the position. I'm just telling you what Lin Wood's argument is. You can make for it what you will and what you believe, and you can tell me down in the comments below what you believe. That would be great. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you think Lin Wood is on point, or if you think I'm crazy, or if you think Justice Batten is crazy, or whatever. What do you think about this election? Engage in the comments below. Anyway, so Lin Wood is saying that because there are irregularities that may have allowed some votes to come in, that those votes may be diluting or diminishing the value of his vote. His mantra on Twitter lately, and we're going to get to Lin Wood's Twitter, his mantra on Twitter lately has been one person, one vote, not, one person plus extra votes. That is opposed to the Constitution, he says, and one person, one vote is more in line with the Constitution. So, and that is generally a concept that has been pretty popular for quite a while, the idea of one person, one vote. Nothing out of the ordinary there. So Lin Wood says that the diminishing or diluting of the value of his vote is a particularized injury. Now, what Justice Batten is saying is that no, because all of the voters' votes are diminished and diluted. And at a surface level, that seems like a really ridiculous proposition. Are you saying that because everybody gets screwed over, nobody can sue? That doesn't make sense to the to normal people. And that is why the standing argument has so many people angry about how these post-election lawsuits have been handled. People want to hear what the evidence is, not that all of these lawsuits fail on the same procedural technicality of standing. No one wants to hear that. They want the courts to look at this. They want to have experts argue about it. They want the evidence examined, and it's not happening. Wood wants the same thing here, and he has asked the Supreme Court to intervene. So, there is a possibility that the Supreme Court will go ahead and take this, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. The likelihood of the Supreme Court issuing a writ of mandamus to Justice Batten over his standing arguments is low, and the evidence for that being low is that several courts have taken the same approach to the standing argument. They're citing the same cases, and they're coming to the same conclusions. Even if normal people like you and I might disagree with the fact that votes being diluted is not a particularized injury. I think that is a particularized injury for whoever's votes are diluted. The interesting thing is, to get to that conclusion, the judge has to say that the votes being diluted apply to everybody, Republican or Democrat, including the person whose side won. Because that's the argument, right? That there's no class of people that has a particular injury, but that everybody's injury is the same. But if your vote was diluted, but it turns out in your favor, then your vote wasn't actually diluted. And maybe Lin Wood hasn't made this argument well enough. I don't know. I don't know that the justice would hear it, but the idea should be that roughly half of Georgia voters' votes were diluted, and the other half wasn't diluted. It was magnified, because if there were additional votes that were allowed, then those would amplify necessarily one group's votes by giving them effectively more than one vote per person, some decimal point, for example. But that is the summary of what's going on. The judge has determined that all Georgia voters' votes are equally diluted when he takes Lin Wood's accusations at face value. If he takes them as true and says, okay, there were things that happened, and so therefore votes were diluted, but everybody's vote is diluted, therefore you don't have a particular injury, so you fail at the first prong of standing. Okay? So that is what Lin Wood is asking the Supreme Court to intervene and overturn. But Lin Wood has put a giant roadblock on this with some tweets which I can't read all of on YouTube because they contain some very, very grave accusations involving people. So here it is on screen. I will link this tweet down in the description below. I'm going to link the emergency petition for the writ of mandamus down below. You can check it out for yourself, and you can read and come to your own conclusions. Again, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. I hope you found this explanation of standing useful and learned something about what's going on and why people are frustrated. If you like this stuff, hit like and subscribe, please. And have a happy new year. We'll talk to you soon. Peace. Peace.